If your dog keeps sneaking off with your socks, dragging away your hoodie, or curling up on the shirt you just took off, and every time it happens you scold them or chase them around, you could actually be making the behavior worse without realizing it. Because this isn't simple mischief, and it certainly isn't your dog trying to get even with you. Most of the time, your dog is quietly dealing with something emotional, and the way you respond in that moment matters much more than you might think. Welcome to Canine Mindset, the channel that helps you understand what your dog is truly thinking and feeling beneath the surface. If you want to stop guessing and start genuinely understanding your dog, be sure to subscribe. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why your dog does this. And trust me, the final reason on this list is the one that will completely change the way you see your dog forever. Most people assume there's an obvious explanation. Maybe your dog is bored. Maybe they're being naughty. Maybe they simply enjoy chewing on clothes. You've probably seen your dog parading your underwear across the living room while guests are over, guarding an old hoodie like it's the most valuable thing in the house, or falling asleep with your worn t-shirt tucked right beneath their nose. But once you look at what behavioral science actually tells us, those common explanations don't really hold up. Let's clear something up right away. This behavior has almost nothing to do with revenge, and it definitely isn't about dominance, despite what you may still hear online. Modern animal behavior research left those outdated ideas behind years ago. What's really happening is much more emotional, and honestly, much more heartwarming than most dog owners ever realize. There are at least 7 different psychological and biological reasons why your dog chooses your laundry pile over their own toy basket. Once you understand all 7, you'll never look at a stolen sock the same way again. The first reason is probably the most important on this list, because it quietly explains much of everything else we're about to discuss. Your scent is one of the most powerful emotional signals your dog experiences every day. Dogs understand the world through smell in the same way humans rely on vision. The scent trapped inside your worn t-shirt or the socks you just took off acts almost like an emotional signature. It reassures your dog that you're close, even when you're not physically there. Researchers studying separation-related stress in dogs have found that dogs left with something carrying their owners scent stay noticeably calmer and settle much faster than dogs given brand new. Unscented items. Think of it the same way a young child becomes attached to a favorite blanket or an old stuffed animal. For your dog, your dirty laundry may provide more comfort to their nervous system than any expensive toy you've ever bought. But scent alone doesn't explain why some dogs only steal your belongings at very specific times of day. Before we continue, I want to ask you something, and I hope you'll answer honestly in the comments. Has your dog ever grabbed a shoe, a sock, or a piece of clothing just as you were about to leave the house? Simply type yes or no below, because that exact timing leads us directly to reason number 2. Dogs are incredibly skilled at recognizing routines, often far better than we realize. They notice you putting on your shoes, picking up your keys, or grabbing your bag long before you ever reach the front door. For many dogs, those familiar little routines trigger a wave of anxiety because they already know what comes next. So when your dog grabs one of your belongings at that moment, it isn't random behavior at all. It's a coping strategy. In a way, your dog is trying to hold onto a piece of you before you disappear for the day. If your dog only steals your clothes right before you leave or immediately after you've gone, it's usually not bad behavior. It's often an early sign of separation-related stress, and it's something worth paying attention to before it develops into more serious problems like destructive chewing, constant barking, or accidents around the house while you're away. Now, if you have a young puppy that's still teething, some chewing and grabbing is simply part of normal development and sore gums. That's completely different from the emotional behavior we're talking about here. But if your dog is well past the puppy stage and this pattern continues, especially around your arrivals and departures, it's something you shouldn't ignore. Now here's where things become even more fascinating. Reason number 3 goes beyond simply missing you. This one is about self-soothing. Chewing on soft objects and carrying them around genuinely helps calm a dog's nervous system, much like people bite their nails, tap their feet, or twist their hair when they're feeling anxious. It's a physical way of managing emotional stress. When your dog combines that naturally calming chewing behavior with an object that smells like you, the comforting effect becomes even stronger. Part of the relief comes from chewing itself, while the other part comes from the emotional reassurance your scent provides. Your dog experiences both forms of comfort at the same time, all wrapped up inside one stolen sock. Reason number 4 takes us thousands of years into the past, long before dogs were sleeping in our beds instead of resting inside dens. Wild canine ancestors built nests using whatever soft materials they could find nearby. More importantly, they filled those resting places with familiar scents, because a den that smelled safe and familiar greatly improved their chances of survival while resting, healing, or raising puppies. Researchers studying wolves in the wild have observed mother wolves actively dragging bedding into the den to create a scent the entire litter recognizes as home. So when your dog pulls your hoodie into their bed, circles around several times, and finally curls up on top of it, they're not just being quirky. They're expressing an ancient instinct that still exists inside every modern dog. That familiar scent quietly tells them, "This place is safe." Reason number 5 applies more strongly to certain breeds, although nearly any dog can display it. Dogs originally bred for retrieving, such as Labradors, Golden Retrievers, and many Spaniels, were carefully selected over generations for what's known as a soft mouth. That means they naturally carry objects gently without damaging them. Even though your dog may never retrieve game birds in a field, that instinct hasn't disappeared. Instead, it often shows up at home as a strong desire to carry objects from one place to another. And soft clothing that smells like their favorite person is often the most rewarding thing they can find. Even mixed-breed dogs frequently inherit parts of these retrieving instincts, although they may express them in slightly different ways depending on their genetics. The next reason is one many owners accidentally create themselves without ever realizing it. Reason number 6 comes down to learned behavior. If your dog has ever grabbed one of your socks and run through the house while you laughed, chased after them, or turned it into a playful game, your dog learned something very important. Stealing your clothes is a fast and reliable way to get your attention. Dogs are constantly testing what works with the people around them. If a behavior succeeds once, they'll almost certainly try it again, especially on days when they feel they're not getting enough attention, playtime, or interaction. That brings us to reason number 7, the final reason I promised would completely change how you view this behavior. Scientists studying the canine brain using MRI scans have discovered something truly remarkable. When dogs smell their own owner's scent, a region of the brain connected to reward and positive emotion becomes significantly more active. It responds more strongly than it does to the scent of a stranger. It even responds more strongly than it does to the scent of another dog they already know. To your dog, your scent isn't just familiar, it's rewarding. Neurologically, it's processed in much the same way as things like food or play. Think about the feeling you get when you catch the scent of a loved one's sweater after they've been away. That comforting emotional pull isn't very different from what's happening inside your dog's brain. So when your dog steals your shirt and buries their face in it, they're doing much more than looking for comfort. In a very real and measurable way, they're searching for you. Every thread in that piece of clothing becomes the closest thing they have to your presence when you can't be there yourself. So the next time you catch your dog proudly walking away with your favorite hoodie, resist the urge to immediately chase them down and grab it back. That reaction can accidentally reinforce the game, feeding directly into reason number 6. Instead, consider intentionally giving your dog something that carries your scent. An old t-shirt placed in their bed or a worn sock left inside their crate can offer real comfort, especially if your dog struggles whenever you leave the house. Just be sure whatever you give them doesn't contain buttons, zippers, elastic, or anything else they could chew off and swallow. It's also a good idea to replace the item with a freshly worn one from time to time, because your scent naturally fades, and older items won't provide the same comforting effect. You're not spoiling your dog by doing this. You're giving them a proven tool that behavioral research shows can reduce stress and help them feel safer while you're away. At the end of the day, a habit that may look like simple mischief is actually one of the clearest signs that your dog has built their entire sense of safety, comfort, and security around you. That's not something to be annoyed by. It's something to truly appreciate. If this video helped you understand your dog a little better today, make sure to subscribe because Canine Mindset releases videos every week that uncover what your dog is really thinking and feeling beneath the surface. And let me know in the comments, which of these 7 reasons surprised you the most?